Leonidas Leatherworks here, and I just want to take a moment and talk to you about the backside. Not my backside, your backside. Well, the backside of your leather, anyway. I have had a lot of requests this year to do a project of a given type, and then as we're getting going in the design process, just about there, and then someone will say, oh, and on the back side, I would like, there's a few things to note about the backside of your leather. Okay, so the front side is called the grain side. This is the artist surface, essentially. This is where we're going to do a lot of pretty work, stamping, laser etching if that's needed, hand tooling. A lot of things can be done. The rear, or the back side of your leather, is the flesh side, and it is somewhat different than the grain side in that it is not as workable, particularly when we're talking about doing a double stamp feature. Someone wants a stamp on the front and then they want a stamp on the back. There's a couple issues with this. To stamp the front side, no problem. Again, that's the artist surface. That is where essentially all that kind of work is going to take place, no problem. The back side has a different texture to it often. It's not finished like the front side. And you can stamp it. However, if I'm using a singular piece of leather and I have stamped the front side, and it takes a good deal of pressure. Most of my stamping is done on a 4-ton press. Okay, it takes a good deal of pressure to get the effects that we want. That will often, as you can kind of see it on this card, it will leave a shadowing type effect where the pressure kind of transferred through and spoke to the backside. So now if I were to take a stamp and stamp it on the back side, put this leather face down, stamp on top, press that in there, it would shadow into the front side of this card, and you would not have the same look that we currently have here. It would essentially kind of ruin the work that's been done on the front side. So when we talk about double stamping a piece of leather, it's essentially a no-go. You really have to take a second piece of leather then, and that could be, a medium thickness to of course it can be thick. I could take this thinner piece of leather, take its grain side, and, cut that to the size, and, before I affix it by glue, by stitching, I could stamp this piece with the design. Wouldn't sit as deeply as this one because this leather is thinner, but it would stamp pretty good. And then I can glue that, stitch it, whatever, to this second piece. You can also do that same type of thing, of course, with thick leather. So here I have a stamped side and a stamped side, and that is because I took two stamped pieces, stamped on the grain side, and will later glue them together like so. And often when I do that, I just about insist on stitching them as well, so we get a long-term, long-lasting product that where we won't worry about the glue failing or anything like that. So just something to know when you are about to request a backside stamp of some nature. Know that essentially you're asking for one product and will double the cost essentially by asking for a second version of that product to be stamped in a little bit different manner to be joined together. All right, just something to know. Thanks.